Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, where we'll be looking at report selections and custom report settings in Sage 50 Cloud Payroll. My name's Calvin, and I'll be your host and presenter today. And today I am joined by Duncan, who will be on hand to answer any questions that you may have throughout today's session. So be sure to fire them across if you have any questions as we go through. So let's have a look at what we're going to be covering. Now, it is going to be a fairly short session today, but there are a couple of subjects in here that should hopefully save you a lot of time. So the first one is going to be report selections. So what are they? What is a report selection, and how do you set one up? So we're having a look at demonstrating how to do that. Next, we are going to move into custom report settings. Now, what are custom report settings and how do we set these up as well? So again, we'll be demonstrating what these are and how you would go about setting those up. Then followed after we've gone through the main presentation, we've got a little bit of a quiz. It's just 3 questions, and we are trialing this method within our webinars to gauge a bit of engagement from you guys. So again, when you do leave the session, if you want to let us know how you found that quiz or how you find quizzes potentially in webinars, let us know in the feedback form that you're sent to. And then we will run through the further support and we'll stick around for any remaining questions that you have at the end of the session. So that's what we'll be covering today. So without further ado, let's get stuck in and we'll have a look at the first one, which is report selections. So what are report selections? What is it? So a report selection, well, this allows you to run multiple reports as one. So if you run reports both pre and post update, and you run more than one report, you can use a report selection to be able to run this all in one go, every single report that you normally run. Now, bear in mind, there's no right or wrong answer as to which reports you should or shouldn't be running. Of course, that is completely down to yourself. But if you do have regular reports that you run every single pay run, this will save you having to run those individually. You can fully customize the selection, so you can input, add, remove any reports that you wish. So if there's specific ones that your accountant has asked for example, you can create a quick report selection for those particular reports. Or alternatively, you can print or save the file as one. So it will reports, it will be pre-generated as one file. So you can save this as one PDF document, or you can run this as separate files anyway. So once we have a look, I'll show you that in a bit more detail, but you can still print these as individual jobs to the printer, for example, or save them as individual PDFs should you need to. Again, as I mentioned, if you're downloading a copy of today's handout, you'll see that there is a useful link there at the bottom. It goes in more detail about what the report selections are, so be sure to download that and then have a look. So what we'll do now is let's have a quick look at how you would set them up. I have gone too far, apologies, there we go. So how do you set them up? So I've got a couple of screenshots here. So you'll see there in the report window, you've got report selections on the left-hand side at the bottom. And then to create a new one, you would simply click on new. To edit an existing one, you just click that edit button next to it. And there is a quick screenshot of what the selections window looks like. So without further ado, let's jump into the program and I will live demonstrate how to set one up and how to edit one as well. So here we are in our program. Now I'm going to use it for post-update reports, but the process is exactly the same for pre-update. So if we click on our reports button at the top here, then we should get the reports window up here. There it is, just being a little slow today. So there you go, we've got our reports window. So I've got a couple of favorites. And as you saw in the screenshots, we've got our report selections in the bottom left. So if I go ahead and click on that, you'll see here we have one. So a bit like Blue Peter, here's one I made earlier where we have a demonstration one. But let's have a look at creating a new one first. So if I click on new, there's the second screenshot that we had. So this is the window. Now you'll notice on the left-hand side, so if I just move this over slightly to the right, you'll see there, if I just expand year end, that this left-hand side mimics exactly what you would see in the report window. So this makes it a little easier because favorites are not there, but this makes it look a little easier to find the reports that you need. For example, the 2 that I had in favorites were the payment summary history, part 1 and part 2. So if I want to go and add those 2, If I scroll all the way down, remember it's in alphabetical order. So if I scroll down here, we should eventually get there. I get past the P45s, there we have the payment summary histories, part 1 and part 2. So if I go part 1 by date, then click add, and then part 2 by date, and then click add. What that then does is they will move those reports over to the selected reports. Now, for any custom reports as well, it has to be mentioned you have got a user defined folder here as well. So any custom reports, they are there as well. So we've added those two in. I'm just going to put in the payment summary part 3 as well. Now you'll notice when it went to the top of the list. Unfortunately, you cannot change how this list appears in which order. It is all done alphabetically. So because you have the word history in this one, then those part 1 and part 2 comes under the part 3. So again, just to highlight, this is why I added part 3, that it cannot be changed. It doesn't matter which order you add them into. It will all automatically organize via alphabetical order. So I'll take part 3 out. We'll have a look at that. So I'm going to give this a name, call it live demo, and a description. So again, it's up to you what you want to describe this as. So it could just be simply as reports for accountant, for example. There we go. Or it could be anything that you want it to be. So it's completely up to you what that is. Then once you're ready for that, hit the save button. And then once you've saved it, you can close the window. As I mentioned, mine's running a little slow at the minute. So apologies on that. So if I just give it a quick refresh, there you go. You'll see that live demo has appeared along with the description. So there you go. So we've put the description. These are the reports for the accountant, and it's just the name is live demo. And you'll see here that we have demonstration. So this is the one we made earlier. So what I want to do is edit this one. So if I go up to edit, we'll get the same window, but as you'll see, the selections are already there. But if I want to take one out, so let's say I don't need the pensions history report anymore, again, remove that, hit the save button, and now you have an amended report selection. And that's it. So that's all there is to it in regards to setting up any kind of report selection you want. You can have a number of these in there as well. So again, if you need to run a number of reports for the same purpose, for example, like I said, for giving them to your accountant, or you need to give them to your accounts people or anyone else in the business who requires specific number of reports. Again, it's all down to you and your business needs on that one. You can set different ones up. Now what we'll do is we're going to go ahead now and we're going to preview the demonstration one, which had the 4 reports in it. So if I click preview on it, and we'll wait for this to load up a little bit. So again, as I mentioned, it is running a tad slow today, so apologies on that one. But what this will do, we'll get our report preview up in a moment, and then this will highlight the fact that you can either save or print this document as one document, or you can run it as separate documents if you need to. But you'll see we'll have all of those reports that are in there, and we'll be able to flick through and view them. Whilst we wait, I've just noticed a question come in there about how do I save particular reports to post update. So you can't is the short answer to that. So remember that post update and pre-update reports are specific reports. So your post update reports are all ones that are going to give you information after you've updated records, and then the pre-update, vice versa, they'll give you information prior to updating records. Now those reports are set specifically to be that way, so you can't change them. So you can't put a pre-update report into a post-update report, for example. Okay, there we go. So that's what we were waiting for, just the criteria to pop up. So again, each report's going to have its different criteria. So you would just need to set that. We'll leave it as default for the demonstration. We'll hit OK, and then we'll wait for the report to load up again. As mentioned, this is a great little time saver, especially if you have a lot of reports you need to run, both pre and post update. It just makes you be able to run them in one go, rather than having to scroll through each list or printing or exporting your favorites. Here we go. We have our preview now, so I'll just make that full screen. So you'll see there, we've got the very first one. So that was the deduction type history. Remember, it's run in alphabetical order and it can't be changed. So we've got deduction first, and you'll see there's tabs across the top. So if I click on each tab, that gives us a view of each report. And you'll notice now against print, email, or export, you have a little drop-down arrow. So for example, if I click on the little arrow next to print, we've got three options. So we can print the current report. So that's whichever tab that I'm clicked onto. So at the minute, it's deduction. So again, we can either print just the deduction type history if I want to, or we can print them all as a single job. So that means all reports will get sent to the printer as one job, or you can send them as individual jobs. So for example, if someone says, no, I don't need that printed, you can, rather than stopping them all, you can stop that individual one. Same goes for exporting. So if I click the drop down, you can either export the current report, so the one that you are clicked on, or you can export them all as a single document. And if you email any, then you've got the same options there as well. So as mentioned, like I said, you've just got the availability to either print one at a time if you still want to, or you can export them all in one go. So that's it. So that's report selections. As you can see there isn't too much to it. So setting them up, obviously my program ran a little slow today. Usually it's a lot quicker than that. But yeah, as you see, just once you've set them up, all you're doing is running them once, and then you've got all your reports in one place. So that moves us on to the custom report settings. So what are custom report settings? So you can use the custom report settings to choose the order in which the individual elements appear on your reports. So saving you the need to redesign any of the reports. So this is about pay elements, deductions, loans. So they're perfect to use if you've got a lot of pay elements and departments. So if you've got a number of different pay elements for a number of different reasons, as well as different departments, then these are ideal to set up. Now you can choose the order of up to 30 payments and deductions, 10 loans, and 13 different types of attachments. So you'll see that in a moment. So you've got a maximum of up to 30. So there's quite a lot there. Again, we kind of advise having it as minimal amount of pay elements, but sometimes there is a necessity to have quite a few. But again, you have the option to choose up to 30. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull over the article. So you'll see there is a link at the bottom of this page. Again, download that handout. But if I just pull up where that link takes you, there is in fact a list of reports in here that highlights what uses the custom report settings. So there is only specific reports that use this, and they are listed in this particular article. So again, the link is there. I'll pause it on screen and I'll just scroll down quickly as well so you can see the ones below, if it will let me. Went a little too far there. So again, don't forget you'll get a recording sent. So if you want to pause it at this section as well, you are more than welcome to do so. I'll try and bring them all in and stay on there a little bit. Again, like I said, once you've got the recording, if you need a reminder or you didn't get the link, download the handout. You can pause the recording at this stage to have a look. But if you do want to have a search for it in our help center, which we'll be going through in a little bit later on, all you'll be doing is searching for custom report settings, and it will bring you to this guide. So as you can see, analysis of payroll totals, attachment current, cost center analysis, and departmental analysis. So that's where I mentioned about the departments. They're all available to use those custom report settings. We're going to use analysis of payroll totals as our demonstration one, just because it is a little easier. So I'll close out of that, and we'll have a look next first at setting one up. So how do you set one up? Again, that article I was just on has all the steps. And here's a couple of screenshots, and we're going to dive into a demonstration for you again. So you'll see there is always a default custom report setting, and that is just the pay elements that you set up in the order that you set them up in. So if you set them up, one is older than the other one, that older one will appear at the top. Okay, and then on the right hand side is when you go and create a new one or edit one, and you'll be able to select each payment type as you go through. So let's go into our program now. I'll close out of our reports and let's go ahead and have a look at some of the custom report settings that I've set up. So to do this, we go to company in the bottom left. Then we go to custom reports. So you'll see there is a custom reports option in the top left. There is your first screenshot. So you'll see there I've created a couple. So for this company, we've got floor staff and back office staff. So they've all got different pay elements that they use. Now we're currently using floor staff. Now I know this because there is just this little star. I hope you can see it. There's a little star next to the number 1. That's how you know which one you are using. To change it, there's a drop down up here. All you need to do, select the drop down, you'll see how the star moves, and that's the one you're doing. Okay, so every time once you've run the report for your back office staff, save that report, come back to here, change it to floor staff, run the report again. So we'll use back office staff for the demo for this one. I'm going to edit it just to show you where to go. Now, if you want to if you want to create a new one, you would click on the new option and it brings you to the same page. So you'll be in the same window, give it a description, and then you've got your payments, your deductions, your loans, and your attachments. Now, if you want, for example, detachments just to appear in the default order, just click default and that will bring them in automatically for you. Now, you'll see here we have 5. Then we've got a couple of blank lines. Now I've left them blank for a reason and we'll see that in a moment. And then we have our wages here. So if we need to add in another one, you see if you just click on that blank line there, select the drop down, and there's all of your pay elements you've created. And I've obviously selected one that I already have in because I'm a bit silly. So let's just add one in I know I haven't got in, which is floor wages because it's back office. And you'll see it appears there. Now, if you want to delete one, what you have to do is press F8 on your keyboard. You'll get this message to say deleted selected item. Click yes, it goes back to being blank. There we go. That's it. So that's all there is to it again for setting it up. So take a little bit of time, set it up in how you want it to, put them in the order that you want them to, and then once they're set up, they are there just to be used. So as I mentioned, we're going to run that report now, analysis of payroll totals. Now that is a pre-update report. So we're going to click OK to that. I'll need to quickly change my processing date because we are currently done May. So we'll need to jump to June. That's still May. It's June, there we go. And then we're going to go to pre-update reports. Again, apologies, it does seem to be running a little slow today. Helps if I highlight my employees. There's a little rookie error there, so clear and swap. And then we'll be getting into the report itself. Now, the reason I've left a couple blank is because when you have any blank lines, or for example, you've not got enough pay elements, or you see this on a particular report when you're running and you wonder why it is, there's nothing to worry about with that. What you'll see when we do run this report, you'll have a line on it that says unused. That unused just simply means that either you don't have enough pay elements, so if you've only got 5 and the report showing you 10, then you'll have 5 lines that says unused, and vice versa if you've got a couple of blanks in like I do. So we'll jump down to analysis once it allows me to today. And there you go, analysis of payroll totals. It's the one at the top, hence why I chose it. And we're going to preview that report like we did with the report selections. It is a maximum of 30. So if you have more than 30 pay elements, for example, or deductions, then you would need to use custom report settings to split those out as well. So you could have 30 for one report, 30 for the next report as well. So it's a good way if you do have a lot of pay elements to still get that information without having to get a custom report designed for you, which can come at a cost depending on what you need. So here we are. we've got our analysis of payroll totals. So I'll just make this full screen. So there you go. You can see our payments are appearing on the left-hand side. So you've got your pay element names and the amounts that have been used for these pay elements. Again, we have our deductions as well. So you'll notice there's a lot of unused, and there's those two unused. So that was the two gaps that I showed you when we were doing the setup. Now, naturally, you would have them in order. You'd probably have the unused at the bottom. I left them sort of mid list to sort of highlight how you're dictating the order that they appear in. So there you go. So that's what happens when you have blanks. You just get unused with no figures. Doesn't affect the totals in any way. You just have this little gap in there. So that's it really. So that's all that they do. So it just allows you to be able to customize the way that pay elements appear on certain reports, as well as if you have multiple pay elements, you can then split them out to make sure that the reports are running those without the need to go into any report design kind of stuff for that. So that's your custom report settings. Now we're going to run into arguably the fun bit. We'll see how you feel about that. But we're going to have a little quiz now. We're going to cover off what we've just went through. So we'll be using polls for this. So what you'll see shortly is a poll on screen. All you have to do is click on your answer and then hit submit. They are completely anonymous. Do not worry. We will be sharing the results, but nobody will see who has answered and what they have answered. It is completely anonymous results. You'll just see it in the way of a percentage. So first question is, it's about report selections. Can you change the order the reports run in the report selections? So if I pull up the poll now, and we'll launch that. So this is just a yes or no. Can you change the order the reports run in the report selections? Remember, just click on the answer, hit submit. It'll ask, thank you for your feedback. It's not feedback. We're just utilizing a tool within the program to try and do this. Yes, again, when you leave the session today, you'll be presented with a little bit of a survey. It would be great to hear how you found this particular feature within our webinars. Give it 30 more seconds, just a minute. I can see about 80% of people have answered. So I'll just give it a few more seconds to go. Then we'll move on to question 2. But we'll reveal the results first. And the answer, of course. There we go. Okay, so we'll close that one. Let's show you the results. So 88% of you said no, 13% of you said yes. The correct answer, which is not on a slide, apologies, seems to have deleted for some reason. The answer is no. So those 88% of you are correct. You cannot change the order the reports run in the report selections. They are done in alphabetical order, and that does not change, and you cannot change it. So the answer is no. So let's bring back the presentation. We'll hide those. Let's give the screen a quick refresh because we're going to go to question number 2. There's only 3 questions. What appears on the report if you have a blank line in your custom report settings? So we'll run that next question. So what appears on the report if you have a blank line in your custom report settings? So with 3 options here, you get just a blank line in the report as well. You get unused, or you have an N/A appear. Again, we'll leave this on for a minute for you guys to go through and answer. Excellent. We'll leave it on for 20 more seconds. You're all answering, which is wonderful to see. Excellent. So we will close that one. And again, we'll share the results on there. So 85% said unused and 15% said a blank line. Nobody said N/A, which is good because that's definitely not right. So the answer to this is unused. So you remember when we ran that report where we had the blank line in the report selections. So when we were creating that selection, it was a blank line. On the report itself, it's unused. So it just says unused on there. You don't get any figures, you just have the word unused. Okay, let's go on to question number 3 and the final question. How many pay elements can you add in custom report settings? So when you're creating that setting, what is the limit on the number of pay elements that you can add? So again, we have 3 options here. We have 10, 20, or 30. So again, how many can you add? There is a maximum limit to custom report settings and how many you can add, but what is that maximum limit? Is it 10? Is it 20? Or is it 30? I will be honest, this is the best impression you'll get of a pub quiz person from me ever. I don't think I can take it up as a full profession. Excellent. Halfway there, we'll give it 30 more seconds, and then we shall reveal the answers. Okay, so we'll close that one off, and again, we shall reveal the results. So 5% said 10, 5% said 20, and 89% said 30. Majority is correct again. So 30 is the limit that you can add. So the number of pay elements you can add in a custom report setting is 30. You can't go any higher than 30. And that would also, there's a caveat to this, that would depend on that report being able to show 30 pay elements. Now, you can add 30 in the report setting. However, if the report itself can only show you 15, then you're not going to get the remaining 15. Okay, so there is that quick caveat there, but in terms of the custom report setting, you can set up to 30 pay elements and up to 30 deductions as well. So that wraps up the quiz. Again, I hope you enjoyed that little feature. It is something new we want to try and bring to our sessions, or some of our sessions at least. So again, let us know if you enjoyed that or you thought it was definitely useful for you. Okay, so let's continue on, and we'll have a look now at some further support that you have before we wrap up. I realize we're coming to the end. So first and foremost, you have your help center. So remember I showed you that article with the list of reports that use the custom report settings. You can find that here in our help center. So go to sage.co.uk/help and search our knowledge base for custom report settings or report selections, and you'll find all the relevant guides to those, or anything else that you may have a question about. The support guides in there, access to our webinars. So we do weekly webinars every Thursday. Of course, there will not be one on next week as it is the Jubilee. There's videos in there as well as the get in touch options. So if you encounter any error messages or something goes terribly wrong and you need our support, the get in touch options are available in our help center too. Secondly, we have Sage University. So if you'd like to learn more about Sage Payroll, you can by going to sageu.com and having a look at our library of e-learnings, our certifications, and our bite-sized learning, all free of charge as well. So this is something you can go and do in your own time at your own pace, which is fantastic. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more, head on over to Sage University and have a look at the various courses in there. We'll stick around for a couple of minutes. I am aware we have slightly overrun. Apologies on that. I think the slow system did not help today, but we'll stick around for any remaining questions that you have for a couple of minutes or so, and then we'll be wrapping up. If you're leaving us now, it's been an absolute pleasure to see as many of you on the session today. Don't forget about that feedback survey that you get presented with when you leave the session. It does mean a lot to both Duncan and myself when we get feedback from you guys, just to make us think about what we can do for our sessions to make them even better. We always want to know what you think and how we can improve them based on your feedback as well. So it is very, very useful. So at this stage, I am going to go quiet whilst we answer some remaining questions, and then I'll be back shortly to say our final goodbyes. Okay, so I'm aware we've overrun a little bit longer than normal, but it looks like we've got all our questions wrapped up and answered. Thank you so much to everyone again who's attended and stuck around till the end. I hope you found it very useful today. It's been an absolute pleasure. So from me, look after yourselves out there. I hope you're continuing to stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.